Welcome, everyone. It's Monday, June 10th, 2024. It's time for our regularly scheduled city council meeting. Ask the clerk to certify the meeting notice.
This meeting has been noticed in accordance with Idaho Code 74-204.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Jacobs?
Here.
Councilmember Page?
Here.
Councilmember Rasmussen?
Here.
Thank you. Next item is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd join me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item D is changes to the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Jacobs?
Yes.
Councilmember Page?
Yes.
Councilmember Rasmussen?
Yes.
Thank you. There's no special business. We'll go to G. G1 is a resolution approving the sewer connection waiver request. Council, there's a clerical error in the address on the agenda. That correction has been made to reflect that the correct address is 9373 North Chelan Avenue. And it's the same piece of property. We just had a clerical error. So this was verbally approved at the last meeting. It's being codified by resolution tonight, and Charlie has corrected the clerical issues on it and is ready for action.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the resolution approving the sewer connection with the correct address of 9373 North Chelan Avenue.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? For the record, the resolution number is 1177-24. The clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Jacobs?
Yes.
Councilmember Page?
Yes.
Councilmember Rasmussen?
Yes.
Item G2, this is a third reading of ordinance 1043-24. Before we get into this item, council have a couple of things we need to do. One, anybody need to declare a conflict of interest in acting on this ordinance?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Second, if you've received any ex parte communication, I need you to declare that, declare the nature of the contact from whom you received it, and if you responded. So we'll start with Councilmember Jacobs.
Mr. Mayor, I did receive some communication from Mrs. Andrea Vogelman regarding the River Club reading of the ordinance.
Did you respond?
I did not.
Okay. That's my.
And I will also say that I've got the same email communication and I did not respond. Mr. Mayor, also at the library event we had here on Saturday the 8th, June 8th. I visited very briefly with Russ Heller, and he simply asked about this, and I said we might talk about it. So that was the extent of our conversation.
Okay. Council President Page.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the evening of June 4th, I received a text message from someone who did not identify themselves. The text alleged that the council had not given due consideration to email sent by a former federal judge who was a prior resident in the Plantation neighborhood. I believe the text was substantive in nature and not merely procedural because the text referenced the judge's email. I did not reply to the text. I also received the email referenced earlier from Ms. Fogelman. I read that on June 8th, 2024. I believe it was sent on June 7th. She identified herself as the president of Plantation Master Association and made direct mention of items that I believed were substantial in nature and not procedural. To guard against ex parte communication, I did not reply to Ms. Fogelman's email. On the evening of June 9th, I received a voicemail from Dr. John Livingston. I know Mr. Livingston lives in the plantation. His message said that his group had submitted a list of concerns and wanted that to be added to the council packet for tonight's meeting. On Friday, he was disappointed to learn the materials had not been included and requested that I call him back. To guard against ex parte communication, I did not return Dr. Livingston's call. I believe that the nature of the call would have been procedural because Dr. Livingston did not divulge the content of the material, only that the materials had not been included in the packet as a matter of procedure.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Respond to Mr. Page said.
Well, I don't think, we're just going through a procedural issue here. And
did not meet requirements for ex parte.
well, that's an opinion that we have to refer to our own attorney on.
City attorney.
So it's not, this isn't accusing you of anything.
But Mr.
This-
Page did know that it was purely procedural and not substantive, and I'd like to make that in the record again. Thank you.
Well, he's already made it in the record. Okay, then we've got two other issues before we get to the third reading agenda item that are related to the third reading agenda item. And that is, we've had declarations of ex parte contact. The decision I'm asking the council to make is whether or not to include that in the public record of the meeting tonight.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I do believe we should enter that communication into the record.
okay. Is that a motion?
Yes.
Okay,
I second.
okay, got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion to include the items mentioned in the ex parte discussion into the public record? Okay, hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Jacobs,
Yes.
Councilmember Page,
Yes.
Councilmember Rasmussen.
Yes.
Okay. The second item I'd like the council to consider is whether the ex parte communications should be reflected in your consideration of a decision tonight on the third reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I believe they should not. I move that they not be considered.
okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Jacobs,
Yes.
Councilmember Page,
Mr. Mayor, can we hold on the vote? I did want to make a comment
Oh, sure.
about the motion.
Okay, on discussion, yes, we're in discussion, so.
In
sorry,
discussion.
I didn't give you a chance to respond. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Mayor. So I think that any information that comes to an elected official is important. The issue before us today is the timeliness of that material, not its importance or relevance. This is merely, in my mind, a question of timeliness. The time for public discussion on this and public input has passed. Those are my comments.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion on the floor. We've finished any discussion, so let's start again with the motion is to not consider this in your decision. So let's call the roll again.
Councilmember Jacobs?
Yes.
Councilmember Page?
Yes.
Councilmember Rasmussen?
Yes.
Okay, now to item G2, which is the third reading of ordinance 1043-24.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I move that the third reading of ordinance 1043-24 be read by the clerk in title only.
okay, got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, would the clerk call a roll?
Councilmember Jacobs?
Yes.
Councilmember Page?
Yes.
Councilmember Rasmussen?
Yes.
Third reading ordinance 1043-24, an ordinance of the city of Garden City, a municipal corporation of the state of Idaho, amending Garden City Code Title 8 Development Code, Chapter 1, General Regulations, Article A, Purpose, Applicability, and Interpretation, Section 5, Interpretation, Subsection C, Conflicting Provisions, and adding a new Chapter 8, Specific Area Plan, Project Ordinances, repealing all ordinances or parts thereof to the extent they conflict with this ordinance, providing all other ordinances included in the official code are still in effect, notwithstanding some provisions thereof being eliminated, providing for a severability clause, approving a summary of the ordinance, and providing an effective date.
okay, Mr. Wadham's point of order for me. Do we separately ask the council to consider adopting and publishing each as we go along?
I think each would be better.
Okay. So the next council, if you want to adopt and publish ordinance 1043-24, I need a motion to do that. I'm not going to recognize you, Mr. Livingston, Dr. Livingston. I'm sorry. Yep.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we adopt ordinance 1043-24 and publish said ordinance.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to adopt and publish ordinance 1043-24. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, the clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Jacobs?
Yes.
Councilmember Page?
Yes.
Councilmember Rasmussen?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item G3, this is a third reading of ordinance 1044-24. This is providing for the rezone. Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 1044-24, the third reading of this ordinance, be read by the clerk in title only.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to read 1044-24 title by title only. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, I'm waiting for James in case he has to comment. Okay, clerk call roll, please.
Councilmember Jacobs?
Yes.
Councilmember Page?
Yes.
Councilmember Rasmussen?
Yes.
Third reading ordinance 1044-24, an ordinance of the city of Garden City, a municipal corporation providing for rezone of certain real property described herein from R2 low density residential to SAP-01/DA specific area plan residences at River Club classification with a development agreement amending the zoning map of the city of Garden City to reflect said change, providing for severability, approving a summary of the ordinance, and providing an effective date.
Okay, follow up.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt ordinance 1044-24 and publish the ordinance as well.
Second.
A motion and a second to adopt and publish ordinance 1044-24. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, clerk call the roll, please.
Councilmember Jacobs?
Yes.
Councilmember Page?
Yes.
Councilmember Rasmussen.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item is item G4. Council, there's been some changes last minute in this transportation agreement for the Chinden Drainage Plan. And Jen and I aren't comfortable hearing that tonight. So it's on the agenda, but I'm not going to bring it forward tonight. We'll do that at another time when we're better prepared. So with that, that concludes the business on our agenda tonight, and entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn tonight's meeting.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you. We stand adjourned.